I've had amazing health throughout my life. That isn't always the case. I've seen them struggle with migraines, arthritis, digestive issues, and I wondered, well, why don't they figure it out? And when there's a deficiency and your body doesn't have everything to make the collagen, you can put everything you want on it and it will help, sure. There are definitely studies on energy healing. There's studies on distant energy healing. She had some toxins that PCBs that were stuck, and her body was saying, we can't do anything until you tell us how to get rid of this.
Welcome to another episode of Nourify and Beautify, the podcast that shows you the other side of beauty. Every week, we interview the experts in the world of beauty, health, and wellness so that you can make informed decisions that are right for you. My name is Noura Bushama.
And I'm Linda Yates. This week, we have an incredible guest. Her name is Beth Mielbrecht. And Beth is a mechanical engineer with a deep passion for bioenergetics and holistic health. She believes that skin health is a direct reflection of overall well-being, and she has developed a unique approach to identifying common health issues through a specialized quiz. Beth blends science with alternative healing methods, making her perspective both fascinating and insightful. Get ready for a conversation that bridges the gap between engineering, bioenergetics, and skin health, backed by real science.
If this is your first time listening to Nourify and Beautify, welcome. We're so happy to have you. And if you're a returning listener, we appreciate your support. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to your favorite podcast app and share this episode with someone who could benefit from this conversation. Now, let's get into it. Beth, thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm so happy to be here.
Well, you have such a unique background, mechanical engineering and bioenergetics. Can you walk us through how you got into this field and what drew you to the connection between energy, health, and skin?
Well, I'm a mechanical engineer, and so that makes me a professional problem solver. I've always been someone who asked why, who always wanted to find out, how does that work? When I went to the theater, even as a young teenager, I wasn't interested in the music or the storytelling. I wanted to know, how did the lights go on? Where did the people go? How did they change their costumes so fast? Where was the orchestra? And how did they know how to play exactly at the right moment? So all of that was in my mind constantly with everything. And when I was out of college and started to learn more about health, and I started to find better ways to eat, I couldn't get enough. I just wanted to dive in more and more. I have tried every diet. I've tried every type of exercise. I love to experiment and try it out on myself. And I feel like I've had amazing health throughout my life. And that isn't always the case with my family and friends. I've seen them struggle with migraines or arthritis or digestive issues. And I wondered, well, why don't they figure it out? Because they have a different way of looking at the world, and they kind of accepted that, well, that's just the way it is. These things just happen and there's nothing I can do. My approach for myself is that, oh, there's always something you can do. And I've known since I was very, very young that we have the power to heal. Our bodies are always talking to us. And I could feel it in my own body. So I have embraced and learned many different healing modalities. And most significantly, when my son was an infant, I experienced energy. I was putting him down in his crib to go to sleep, and I didn't want him to wake up. And I was backing away down the hallway with my hands like this. I'm holding my hands up a little bit, and I could feel like there was a steel cable between my hand and his body, his little body. What is this? I have never felt this before. And that took me on a journey of learning energy healing, of becoming a Reiki master teacher, of learning traditional Chinese medicine, of becoming a homeopath, of learning so many things. And that's how I took care of my son and my husband, who have always been healthy. And as I continued my journey, I realized that other people don't think the way I do. They don't ask why. They don't ask, how are the lights coming on? And how do the people go in and out off the stage? And why do I feel this way? Do I have to feel this way? And when I experienced a bioenergetic testing session, it was like a match made in heaven. It had all the data and science that satisfied my engineering brain, plus there's an energetic connection. And so it kind of merged those two things. And I decided this is how I was going to help my friends and family, and by extension, anyone who I could talk to about it.
That's really fascinating. When I went to my first Flyer musical, I was interested in the clothes. So I'm just saying, we all have our strengths, and I am truly fascinated in what you're doing. A lot of people, though, think about skincare as something external, like the products they're using, the treatments. But you emphasize the skin health is inside out process. Can you explain that perspective to us?
Sure. I've always been very simple with my skincare, except when I was in high school. And because I was a teenager in high school, I tried to wear as much makeup as possible, especially when I was going to Catholic school. It was just a rite of passage. But I soon left that behind, and I realized that when I was at the grocery store, people would come up and comment, "Wow, your skin is beautiful. What do you eat?" And I would get comments on my skin all the time. I don't wear makeup. Right now I'm wearing lipstick, but I don't wear makeup anymore. And that works for me. I'm not on stage. I don't need to have it look amazing. But I have found that the inner vibrancy, my amazing health, shines through. And yes, you can have a professional makeup artist and great lighting, and you can have photographs that with airbrushing and Photoshop that really make you look great. But for every day, simple is the best. That's how it works for my personal routine, and it comes from the inside out. It shows from what I eat, how I take care of myself, and the condition of the lymph and the organs.
Oh. Well, your approach is unique because it's rooted in both science and holistic health. What are some of the biggest internal health factors that show up on your skin?
Well, the skin, as you know, is the body's largest organ. So when your body can't process something through the way it's supposed to, it comes out through your skin. How does your body process life? It goes through your liver. So when your liver is congested, then your body's like, I have to get rid of this somewhere. It's going to show up as eczema. It's going to show up as bags under your eyes. It's going to show up as just lack of vibrancy. And when there's a deficiency and your body doesn't have everything to make the collagen, you can put everything you want on it and it will help, sure. There's surface, but even better is to give your body the nutrients it needs to make sure you have the minerals you need so that your body can make it from the inside out.
You've mentioned that there is scientific support for alternative healing methods, but research funding is often limited. Can you talk about some of the studies or findings that back up bioenergetic and energy healing?
Sure. There are definitely studies on energy healing. There's studies on distant energy healing, and it shows the efficacy of it. So that's called therapeutic touch. And yes, that has been studied. For bioenergetics, it is related to traditional Chinese medicine. It is related to the energy meridians in the body and the acupuncture points. And there have been studies on those things, but not specifically on bioenergetics. Bioenergetics and bioenergetic testing is using the body's own self to figure out what it needs and how to balance it. It kind of doesn't lend itself to big funding, to practitioners who want to advance their careers, because there isn't a large funding source for it, and likewise not a lot of funding going to those studies. My hope is someday that it will be studied. There are studies on the human biofield, so the energy that's around us. But getting a specific study on the efficacy of bioenergetics, I do not. I just have client results.
There's still skepticism, however, around energy healing. For listeners who might be unsure, how would you explain that science in a way that makes sense?
So we are electrical beings. We are electromagnetic, actually, and not just a chemical. We're not just biochemistry. And you have felt, each and every one of us has felt energy healing. When you give someone you love a hug, and then that hug is over, and that person goes to school, goes to work, goes on a trip, and then you remember that hug, and you can feel it again.
The warmth.
Or you can feel that warmth. Or you talk to that person on the phone, and you feel that connection. Or someone that you love deeply, you know that there's something wrong. And you reach out, you send a text, or you call. You say, I was thinking about you, I don't know what it was. That we are connected through time and space. And that is how I know how to explain it. Another physical way of how to explain it, that we are electromagnetic, is to hold your two hands together parallel, right in front of you, about an inch apart. And if you pulse a little bit, you'll start feeling something squishy, like there's a marshmallow inside there. And what it is we have electromagnetic energy around our bodies, and you're just bumping up against it. That same electromagnetic energy is able to be shared with therapeutic touch. So when people do hands-on healing, they are using that for your benefit. And we use it too. When our head hurts, we put our hand on our head. We're calming acupuncture points, and we're using that. When our stomachs hurt, we put our hands on our stomach. Same thing.
You've developed a quiz to help people identify potential health issues. Can you walk us through how it works and what kind of insights someone might gain from it?
So the way I work with clients to help identify health issues without diagnosing, it's about what is out of balance. That's the language that I use. So I use a bioenergetic testing device, and this device sends electronic signals remotely to you, and it asks a question, and depending on the result that bounces back and is measured by the device, I know the answer. And if something is out of balance, for example, it could be one of your organs, or it could be a system like circulatory, or your muscles, or your lymph. If something's out of balance, the machine gets back a different response, because we're sending electricity back and forth. And so if it's out of balance, then I ask a series of questions. Well, what is the reason? What would put you back into balance? Are you missing a mineral? Are you missing an amino acid? Is there an emotion that is the trouble? And we go through, and so it ends up asking thousands of questions, and these signals are asked very quickly and then received, and then the answers are recorded on my computer so that I can make sense of it. And then once we figure out what is out of balance, now I know everything that does put it into balance. And they're like electronic files, and I can give them to you. And the way I give them to my clients is either through a bottle of drops or a small patch that they take, or they put the patch on their body. And that contains the balancing frequencies that are right for them.
That's so fascinating. Recently, I mentioned in a recent episode, I fell. So I know I am completely out of balance because I fell and broke my wrist in a couple of spots. When it comes to holistic health, there's often a lot of misinformation. What's one big misconception about alternative healing that you'd like to clear up today?
Misconception, I guess, would be that there's only one way that works. And that's not true. When you're working with individual practitioners, they each have their own specialty. And you need to find what works for you. For example, some people love essential oils, which are very, very powerful. Linda, a little bit of frankincense on your wrist is wonderful for healing. But if you don't like the smell of frankincense, don't use it. The naturopath might say, Linda, you should put some castor oil with red pepper mixed in on your wrist. That's going to help healing. And then somebody else might say, Linda, we should check to see if there's any trapped emotions in that injury from the trauma and release them, because that will speed healing. Which is right. They all are. And it's whatever you resonate with. And so many things can be done at the same time. Even more commonly accepted alternative practices such as acupuncture would be great for your wrist. A chiropractic adjustment might be great for your wrist. And those are more widely known, even without even getting into other types of practices.
If someone wanted to start incorporating bioenergetic principles into their daily routine, what are some simple first steps they can take?
So bioenergetics is about listening to your innate wisdom. So this is the part of you that knows how to breathe, that knows how to digest your food, that moves your blood cells around, all the things that you don't need to think about. It's not your thinking brain. So if you want to incorporate this into your daily life, you need to practice listening to that wisdom. For example, let's go back to the grocery store. You're at the grocery store and you're thinking you need to buy broccoli for dinner. And you start looking at the broccoli and it looks fine, but you don't want it. It just doesn't make sense to you.
Yeah, that's me.
Don't get it. Yeah, don't get it. You're like, I had plans for broccoli and here it is. It looks fine. And you say, your body's telling you broccoli is not right, or that broccoli is not right. Choose something else. What are you drawn to? Listen to it. Same thing when it comes to a supplement. So many people take supplements and they don't even know why. It seemed like a good idea. I don't know if it's doing anything. So before you take your supplement, just look at it. Do you need to take 3? Would 1 be okay? Or maybe you should skip today altogether. If you start paying attention to that, you will activate your connection to your internal wisdom. When people don't know how to do that, then you might need to go to someone who will help you with that. And there's all kinds of practitioners who tap into your innate wisdom. But you can do that yourself. Also, one practice is see when you're standing on your feet. Do you lean forward? Ooh, I want that. Or do you unconsciously back away? Like, I'm not sure. That doesn't seem right. Trust that. The more you trust it, the more you'll make wonderful decisions for work, for family, for everything.
Wow, okay.
That's so fascinating. I think there's a lot of truth to that. I feel that way whenever I buy something, just saying. So, it's like, yeah, I've got to have that. And then if I'm kind of lukewarm, a good thing not to buy, I've found. So, yeah, that is that inner voice. Beth, you've worked with so many different individuals through using all your different methodologies. Can you share a transformation story that really stood out to you?
I'll tell you about 2 people. One is Jenna. Jenna is a really talented chiropractor, and she does a type of chiropractic that does manual muscle release before every adjustment. And what that looks like is a little mini deep tissue massage on your back and shoulders before every adjustment. And she's been in practice for 5 years. Her wrists are shot. Her wrists are giving out. And she tapes them and she ices them. She knows all the things. And it's not working. And so I worked with her. After 2 months, the pain is gone. She can treat her patients like she wants to. She can do that extra work because she knows it works. And she still has her life. And she has her wrist functioning again. So that was amazing. And another one is Kathleen. Kathleen has been struggling for years and didn't really know what to do with her health. And her health wasn't that great, but she didn't know what to do. And she didn't know where to start. And so when she came to me, I said, okay, we know where to start. I'm going to ask your body, where should you start? And it turns out she had some toxins that PCBs that were stuck, and her body was saying, we can't do anything until you tell us how to get rid of this. And so the balancing remedy helped process the PCBs. So then we were able to keep taking the next step. And for her, it was emotional. She felt like a whole huge burden had been lifted. She started walking again. She felt like she was shifting out of the sadness and like nothing was going to change. And so now we can look at other parts of her health. But there was an emotional component that she didn't think she needed to address because it felt like it was a physical thing. But first, there was a toxin followed by an emotion, and now she's on her healing path. And it's wonderful to see.
Oh. What do you see the future of bioenergetics and alternative healings? And do you think that mainstream medicine will start integrating more of these approaches?
Mainstream medicine? I have no idea. I have not participated in mainstream medicine for my entire life. So I don't know what mainstream medicine is going to do. But I do know that average people are tired of not having their concerns listened to and addressed, of being told they're just normal, their tests are normal, there's nothing we can do, or there's a standard protocol, maybe it'll work. They are tired of not feeling heard, or have been through the system and gone to specialists and still don't feel right. So regular people are the ones who will make the decision for themselves. I'm not sure what mainstream medicine will do. I hope they will pay attention.
If you could leave our listeners with one key message about skin health and overall well-being, what would that be?
When it comes to your skin or any other part of your body, I want you to know that you can heal. You can heal it. If you think that there's an issue that is insurmountable, that's not true. It's your body's way of coping with the situation, and there's ways. It might be through internal work, it might be through emotional work, but yes, you can definitely heal your body, and that includes your skin.
And if our listeners want to know more about you, where can they find you?
Well, I'd be delighted if you visited my website, which is yourhealthwithbeth.com.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us, Beth.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. That was such an insightful conversation. I love how she broke down the science behind the skin health and bioenergy. One big takeaway for me is that our skin is a mirror of our internal health, and real beauty starts from within. I think a lot of people in this podcast have been talking about this subject, and I'm starting believing in it.
I totally agree. I really resonated with a lot of things that she said. I also loved how Beth highlighted the importance of listening to our bodies and using tools like her quiz to get real insights into our health. It's a game changer, it sounds like. We want to thank you for listening to Nourify and Beautify, where we show you the other side of beauty. If you'd like to learn more about us or read our blog, visit us at nourify-beautify.com. I'm Linda Yates.
And I'm Nora Mushama. See you next time.